Hi, everybody. Good morning. Please, can I confirm if you hear me clearly at your various locations? Okay, so we are ready for today's session. We want to say thank you for joining us in this program today. This is Marana Global Services Limited. We are a health and safety organization here in Nigeria. We provide training as of Nigeria. Today, many of us know, we'll be talking about occupational health and safety hazard identification and documentation. This is a very important topic for us, especially coming from the industrial background. Um, Before we go there, I would like to let us know that this program I'm broadcasting from my house because I couldn't go to the office because of the pandemic, COVID-19, the coronavirus disease. So I'll be talking to us direct from the house. I believe many of us are also at home because of the restrictions in our various locations and countries. Same is applicable here in Nigeria. So please forgive me, you may not have the normal industrial setup as you'd expect in the office, but I can tell us we're going to be having the best nevertheless. So talking about occupational health and safety hazards. Like we said before, this is a very important one that cuts across every area in our organizations. Regardless of where you work, regardless of what you do, you'll be talking of hazards. And this is why it's important for us today to look at this together. It's going to be a short video. It's going to be a short section. The full training is available on our website for registration. And like we also know, this training is a free section. You are not required to pay for it. Some persons have been asking us for certifications and stuff like that. We'll be talking about that at the end of this training. Let's focus on getting the best for now. So, back to business. Occupational health and safety hazard identification. What's our objective and what's our scope for today? Our objective is to promote knowledge of workplace hazards and contribute to OSH improvement through effective hazard documentation. And when we mean OSH improvement, we're talking of various occupational health and safety programs you have in your workplace to make sure that you have a safe workplace and everybody is free from harm. I'll put it that way. Is free from harm. So that's our objective. We want to make sure that we promote this knowledge, and as partners in the industry, we are all going to be doing this together through this training. Our scope is going to be basically identification of occupational health and safety hazards from various industries, from various occupational settings, and so on and so forth, and then documentation of these hazards. So there are a lot of things about hazards we'll not be talking about today, but I can tell us the information we're going to be getting will be very, very useful for us as professionals. So let's not forget to be limiting ourselves to the identification of hazards and how these hazards can be documented in the workplace. Now, why is this training important for us? This is important because as health and safety professionals, as workers in an industry, you want to be sure that while you do your work, you want to go back to the house. And for us to know that the ability to identify hazards at work is key and very key to the success of any health and safety program you want to talk about. Whatever you're doing, if you cannot recognize hazards in your work environment, in your workspace, then you're working at risk. And such work should not actually continue. Again, another reason for this course is to also look at documentation, which will help us in designing targeted control measures. After you've identified these hazards, then you have to document them. Documenting means when you are designing your control measures, you have a guide, you have a pre-knowledge, you have necessary tools, you have enough information to know how to prioritize your hazard and know how to design the controls required. And this will also help in other processes we have at work. Processes like, for instance, your job hazard analysis. Some of us call it job safety analysis. Some of us call it task safety analysis. It doesn't matter. What we're talking about is the hazard analysis in your job. And having enough information about hazards present in your work environment, this will make your JHA processes a bit simpler and easier, because then you know hazards that you have already identified. And also, when there is an incident at work, normal standards at workplaces you must investigate. Now, investigations will become easier if you have a documented hazard in your place of work. So these are some of the things you'll be looking at as professionals, and the need for you to undertake a course, just like we are taking on how OSH hazard analysis, identification and documentation. At the end, we're going to have your organization to be able to meet their legal requirements in terms of documenting hazard, identifying hazard, communicating these hazards to their workers. These are requirements embedded in our laws, both at international conventions and our local laws. What is hazard? This is a big I'll be talking about today. Hazard, by general definition, is anything that has potential to cause harm. Anything that has potential to cause harm. This definition is consistent, and many of us are already aware of it from various resources, various trainings, and so on and so forth. And it's also consistent with the ISO 45001 OSH management system. When you look at the management system, you see that the definition of hazard there is also consistent with what we have here. Basically and simply, we say hazard is anything that has potential to cause. Note that an incident that causes harm is not a hazard in itself. This is very important, and we've seen a lot of safety professionals trying to figure out where to stand in between this. Is it an incident? Is it a hazard? The incident is because there is a hazard, and what led to that hazard is what we should identify. What led to that incident is what we should identify as a hazard. This is very important for us. I wish I could be sharing my screen with us, but the platform we're using now, the YouTube Live, does not permit us to share screen. What we'll do is, after this screen, we're going to upload, look at issues we'll be talking about, some details in this presentation. And this will also, for the sake of those who are joining late, and for the sake of those who will be having network challenges,